Adversarial testing systematically mutates inputs to force failure modes that happy path suites never touch. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for adversarial testing for LLMs in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: mutate, attack, detect, and harden. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: LLMs are sensitive to paraphrases, encodings, and multi-turn manipulation. Adversarial packs hardened systems against real misuse. Enterprises need continuous adversarial coverage as models and tools evolve. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Mutation operators. Apply paraphrase, obfuscation, roleplay, and encoding transforms. Track which operators win. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Multi-turn attacks. Test gradual policy erosion across conversation state. Single-turn suites miss this. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Toolchain abuse. Attack agent tools and retrieval filters, not only the chat model. System boundaries matter. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Detection signals. Log classifier hits, refusal quality, and anomalous tool calls. Detection is part of defense. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Hardening backlog. Convert successful attacks into permanent regression cases. Wins become assets. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Transfer testing. Replay attacks across model vendors and versions. Portability of attacks is high. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: Enterprise IT Helpdesk bot with actions to reset credentials and open tickets. Adversarial multi-turn scripts convince the bot to initiate resets without proper verification by escalating urgency. Security added step-up verification and turned the scripts into nightly regressions. Subsequent model upgrades were blocked until the adversarial pack passed. The SOC used the same transcripts for awareness training. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: Testing only single-turn jailbreak strings from the internet. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: Ignoring tool and retrieval attack surfaces. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: Not converting successful attacks into regressions. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: Assuming a new model version inherits old defenses. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline: small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: Use systematic mutations and multi-turn scripts. Takeaway 2: Include tools and retrieval in scope. Takeaway 3: Promote successful attacks into permanent tests. Takeaway 4: Retest after every material change. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: build a mutation checklist and apply it to your top 10 sensitive intents. Then, add 3 multi-turn adversarial scripts to your nightly suite. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat adversarial testing for LLMs as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be replicated.